All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know if you can hear me. Happy Thursday. The day after FOMC. Let's see what we got shaking here. All right, so taking a look around, obviously we got a pretty decent little move up in the NASDAQ here, and by little I mean 517 points. That's my main focus at the moment. So I'm going to be watching here from a NASDAQ perspective. Excuse me. See if we can get a pullback here and hold this 27,777s. And this is going to sound really, really crazy to say out loud, but I think the potential target on this, and it would obviously be kind of a dream target up there, would be 28,731s. So it's about 1,000 points, which would be 695.02s here for the QQQ. So we got a lot of room to potentially move there. I guess that target, yeah, 731s. I'm going to go ahead and put the Qs some type of option in the order window here. I think there's the potential that that ends up being a massive mover. And it might save some of it for tomorrow, but I'm thinking these 690 calls, they're really, really far out of the money. Could potentially be a move on the day in there. See if we can't get that pullback. No, it is a sneaky little level in there for sure. All right, there we go. There's the bell. Like I said, I'm going to be watching for pullbacks to 27,777s here. That's my main kind of focus at the moment. Yeah, I think we got to push through for the S&Ps. I think we got to push through 74.28s. There is a pullback here potentially to 36.30s for the Russell, which I don't think is also bad. AMD, little gap up. Microsoft, I think, is a little bit too much of a gap here. I put it in order to pick up some of those 690 QQQ puts for a nickel. They're currently 6 cents by 7 cents. So I'm assuming if we can get that pullback there to 777s here for the NASDAQ, I'm willing to just blindly buy that pullback on a first test here using something like the QQQ. And then I'm going to watch obviously here now for futures and see if we can't get like an actual entry of sorts to do anything with. These are 0 DTEs, right? So it's sized for 0, like it is what it is. It either makes that move today or it doesn't, essentially. And I guess technically we could look at tomorrow's, but like, I don't know what those are priced at. 62 cents, not terrible. Excuse me. If we are going to get, what did I say? Did I say 690 puts? 690 calls for today. Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. 690 calls. They should be right about 6 or 7 cents right now. And I'm trying to get them filled in a nickel. I'm pretty much the bid at this point. My thinking here with this is that NASDAQ's got to pull down and trade this level. And I'm a little bit conflicted on the fact that we don't have the S&Ps getting the gap over it. We don't have the Dow getting the gap over it. And the idea is maybe that NASDAQ doesn't give us exactly what we want on this pullback. We technically have NASDAQ and Russell kind of moving together here, and we have S&P's Dow kind of moving sort of together in a way there. So I can put that on, that can be my risk. And then from there I can just chill in the event that we don't get anything else. But Microsoft making a move, I really was expecting this to get more of a pullback. But it also was at $425 in pre-market till the last 5 minutes of before the bell. And jumped 10 points. That's a good looking chart though, bigger picture, like swing perspective. All right, Russell's pulling down here, currently trading right into the level there. 3630s. We just traded that. Still nothing for NASDAQ just yet. Don't you go higher without pulling back to test 777s, please. Oh, NASDAQ. No other woman. All right, NASDAQ popped. Got new highs now. Let's see if it can come down here. You could potentially maybe argue a little short to see if we can't get that pullback into 777s and basically stop those highs. 919s. It's about 30 points. I don't love the idea of doing that. But again, you could argue it. $813.25 is that low. Gold making a nice little push there to the upside. Russell, nice little bottoming tail there. Honestly, if we can get this pullback here in NASDAQ and Russell can kind of stay right in here at 3630s, we might be able to pick up a position in there in addition to the S&Ps. I don't love the Russell location quite as much in general. I really want to be patient and let this NASDAQ kind of make its move lower if it's going to. I'm also looking at my options and I'm like, I'm not getting filled at a nickel. Should I bite the bullet and pay up the extra couple of cents here just to have it on? But Russell's kind of failing the level a little bit now. So maybe not. I still think we'll get that pullback. Use Lucid or Apex. I like them both. I like them both. I would probably start with Lucid, honestly. The backend platform is probably a little bit more user friendly. And you can activate same day. Otherwise, they'll be fairly comparable. Christian's thinking we short the Russell. So far, that's honestly not a bad looking move. We're failing that 3630s. Like I said, I still just want to see this NASDAQ come down and get 777s. If we don't do that, it's going to be kind of difficult, I think, to really do anything. And I mean, we have the Dow pushing lower. We have the S&Ps pushing lower. We have the Russell pushing lower. It's like, come on, NASDAQ. You don't really want to not go do that, right? You're just pretending. Just drop 100 points and go get that level for us. You will be stronger after you trade the level. It's trying to hold that open pretty well, though. It's looking like it's going to try it. There's a new high for it. S&Ps. S&P is pushing the opening print here. We might try and push up to those 74.28s. Damn, those contracts are 7 cents. Am I going to miss out on that by 2 cents because I want to be a dick for a tick on my entry here? Oh, wait. Did I get filled? Oh, I got filled. It didn't update. They did give them to me at a nickel. Oh, we Gucci. That's crazy. Okay, I'm okay. We did get filled at a nickel, actually. All right, run this thing up. Forget 777s. Let it go. All right, sweet. Yeah, I got a little position on there in the QQQ, those 690s we were talking about. I didn't realize I got filled on that. We got the Russell coming back up here to the level now. I still think NASDAQ could probably go get the level, but I'm not going to try and fight that if it does not want to. AMD with a nice little move there as well. Amazon, little green. Yeah, we were holding that open pretty well in the NASDAQ. Yeah, it's a nice move. I was kind of looking to see if we couldn't break down through there, get that pullback. Market would be, if we do run 1,000 points today and we don't get that pullback, that'll be kind of obnoxious, honestly. It will make sense for this market, but it'll be obnoxious either way. Weekly puts on QQQ, bro. I'm long to the tits with calls at the moment. Yeah, maybe tomorrow, but today let's just let it go get 28 731s. Oh, video stuck. I don't show any packet loss. Yeah, no drop frames or anything. Let's see, our next entry potentially here is if we can get the S&Ps up through this 2850s here, get Russell back over 3630s. The Dow's got some work. It's got to get up there. 163 is about 100 points. But yeah, if we can, we just tested 27 quarters there for S&Ps. We're kind of rejecting off that 3630s a little bit though for the Russell. I guess we could potentially look at the S&Ps on a pullback to opening print here, 1450s. The 50K funded. Oh, you're saying the funded next? Do you use my like 18-digit long coupon code that I have no idea what it is? I don't know why, but that shit bothers me. Actually, I saw a tweet yesterday. I don't really know if I want to say anything about it publicly outside of just like here, because they're known for, Bottom Step is known for suing people, but the owner of said company that is not named is apparently now looking for affiliates. And I'm just like most of y'all people haven't been in the game long enough to remember that they have screwed affiliates multiple times now. This would be essentially the third, where they get you guys to promote them and they pay you for a little while and then they stop paying you and then they say, oh, sorry, nothing you can do about it, and keep all your people. So we shall see how that one unfolds this time. Pullback is 3250s in the Russell there. I'm looking at longs in there, but I don't really want to. Although it just ripped 4.5 points on me. The problem is if we do run away today, and this, I mentioned this like literally first thing, that's why I wanted those Q calls, is like if we do run away, like it's going to be a struggle to try and find entries here, and this is kind of how that starts to look. So again, I'm okay if I don't have any futures entries today, as long as I had that Q position on, because it's legitimately a 100 to 1 risk reward ratio. So whether it hits or not, I have no idea. But the idea behind it is that in the event that it does, we're covered. Everything just made new highs here except for the Russell. SpaceX may be finding a little bit of a short-term bottom there. Gold. I did the 690s. How are they moving? I honestly haven't looked. Oh shit, they're 28 cents. Excuse me. Yeah, they just traded up to 35 cents there. That's kind of crazy already. I didn't expect them to move quite that much. The futures rollover here is messing with the GC levels in which I had there. Yeah, 41.6650 is there. Russell pulled back there, traded that. I kind of want to see S&P's recheck open, but at the same time, I kind of don't. I just think we need a little bit more data here. NASDAQ at the moment, it's up 2.79% here. It's basically up 760 points. I think we can double that today, end up, essentially at 4 or 5% on the day. This is taking out yesterday's green or red bar at the moment. We got a little bit more to go for those overnight highs from the other night up here, like 170s, 180s, whatever it is. And I really want to see just how we handle S&P's, Russell, Dow handle their levels here, because NASDAQ did that little front run. The QQQ target is like 695.14, basically 695s. It essentially, the thing in which I'm watching in there is we could basically take back this entire red bar from the weekly chart and maybe kind of turn it green just a little bit, is the thing in which I'm watching in there. That's the play. And I'm making the bet that that happens essentially today. It's pretty common that we fade FOMC moves like the following day. So we have that in our favor as well, I think. Oh, you're saying I can exercise? No, I mean, if I'm still holding this at 3:30, I'm sure Robinhood's going to close. They're going to close all of that. So we got 5.5 hours here, boys. That's it. Apple earnings, honestly, probably gets us there realistically, though. That's another trade for tomorrow. I'm not really considering that at the moment into the equation, but and that won't come out till like 4:30, so I'll be long gone by that point. kind of like this Russell. The idea that we could play it a little tight here, like 35 is like a 4-point stop. But it's the only market not making new highs yet on the day. And the S&Ps are still kind of fidgeting with this 2850, so I'm okay with sitting for another minute. Yeah, but Robinhood will close it at like 3:30. I don't have enough cash in the account to get assigned in my Robinhood, at least for the contracts that I have on. A lot of times they'll even close contracts that are only worth like, 2-3 cents that are still like far out of the money at 3:30. So yeah, I don't think we really have we don't have the luxury of holding it past then. And again, as long as it hits targets before then, I don't really give a shit. So like we can let her rip. That gold's getting the move. This AMD chart is just honestly kind of staggering to me. It's a gap over red. Got earnings coming up next week here. I don't know that makes that full move back, but it's a crazy looking chart here. Gold's actually pushing that 41.66s. Gold, I mean, Hassan, you might be right on this about holding from a bigger picture perspective. You look at something like GLD, it's like this 360, 370-ish area, like it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Like I said, there was an entry there in the Russell you could have had right around 39s. Stops under 35s. S&Ps, I guess I should pay attention to this range a little bit more. We've pushed through like 12 points already. You just looked at your stats and said you have a 91% win rate. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That's pretty wild, actually. Yeah, no, toss for sure. I could make it work, but Robinhood's a little different on that. Like the Robinhood account I'm playing with is strictly just for lotto type stuff. Like whatever position size I want to put on is how much cash I move over there, like for the day or for the trade. Like I don't typically hold essentially anything in there until it's time to put a position on. So they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, sir, you have $3.40 worth of available buying power. We are going to need to close this position out. You cannot get assigned this position. Sorry. Not sorry. Honestly, I don't want to be assigned. I just wanted to go hit targets. Like, Russell's holding nicely now. NASDAQ's pushing up through like kind of that 170, 180. That was that overnight area from the other night here. We're getting a pretty decent move in the S&Ps there as well off 2850s. I didn't see an entry in there personally. I guess we technically did get above it. We held. We're kind of doing the thing. That's got a lot more room still yet to move. I'm still thinking there's another entry here somewhere from a long perspective today. Like, we've just gone straight up. And that's why I'm kind of waiting on the Russell. Microsoft's holding pretty well. Can't you see? Sometimes it works to hypnotize me. Your flashy ways. Can't you see? Sometimes your words hypnotize me. There's that Russell getting a little bit more of a pullback. You can see clearly the leader on the day is going to be the NASDAQ here, up 3.02%. And again, we talked about this a little bit kind of earlier in the week at a certain point, right? And I even talked about it last night on the free nightly video, which if you guys aren't checking those out, they're hosted in the free nightly video section on Discord, and then they get emailed out as well. Or I guess technically you could go to just the blog on the site there. I'll drop it for you guys. That's where they get uploaded each night. But I talked about just the difference in like NASDAQ's down, 13%, give or take, right off of highs, and the Dow was down essentially like a couple percent. It was nothing crazy comparative to what the NASDAQ was down at the moment. So the question becomes is like, again, we haven't seen that type of divergence, so to speak, in those indices in a while. And it's like, if that's going to play catch up, then there's a lot of catch up to play. So we've got a good strength going here in the S&P's NASDAQ on the day, and Russell and Dow are kind of hanging out. Russell's up 0.7%, Dow's up 0.6%. So I see that, and I'm like, okay, yes, the Russell potentially has an entry in here, right? And it just kind of came down, made that little 34 push. This is potentially a new entry in here. But I'm also looking at it, I'm like, do we really want to long the thing that's not, one, making new highs yet, and two, isn't the strongest thing on the board here? If this relationship, this pair between, like NASDAQ Dow is going to start to unfold today, I would rather be long that thing unfolding, you know what I mean? i.e. like the NASDAQ, for example. S&Ps too, right? They're kind of moving together in that regard. I'm not opposed to it. I'm certainly not opposed to it. I think the Dow potentially is also decent just because of where it's at on the chart. presents a little opportunity, but I don't love that it's not above the level. So I'm going to kind of rein it back a little bit on that. But yeah, at the moment, I guess those NASDAQ, they were technically, yeah, we did just technically trade 50 cents, so they were up about 10x there. Yeah, I mean, at some point, we're definitely going to have to sit through a pullback in the NASDAQ. Like, I'm not, I know that that's the case. And the unfortunate part about that front run is we potentially open it up that we come all the way back down to there. So there is that. There is that. We might see the S&Ps kind of pull back and hold these 2850s here while the Russell maybe gets a divergence. It is kind of a, like I said, the weaker market there, getting the breakdown. I wouldn't be too surprised to see S&Ps trade like 24, 25, something like that on this pullback and push through that 2850s a little bit here. Yeah, that's what I'm watching for here now. See if we can't get an entry into the S&Ps. This first pullback essentially of the day. 2875s traded there on the low. It was 1009. Yeah, you were stalking that Russell short there. $28.50s traded there. I'm not taking it right off the level, although no, I'm gonna wait. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us trade like 25s, 24s here on this pullback. But this is the pullback and test of 28.50s here. This could be it for NASDAQ too. 2750s traded there on the S&Ps. Again, I may miss it just because I'm being a little bit more patient with the entry here. But 2850 so far, 6-point bounce. 2640 is that low in the Russell. We traded 2680s. So no divergence in there just yet. AMD holding right at highs here. Like I said, I kind of want to see this little shimmy potentially in the S&Ps back under 2750s now, with Russell maybe getting divergence. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to see. Russell did just get that new low in the divergence there. Dow's kind of holding there. I don't mind the S&Ps. 2750 is about a 5-point stop in here. I just don't know if that low at 2750s is going to hold at the moment. It looks super easy, and for some reason I have a feeling it should not be this easy, and maybe that's just me overthinking it and being a little extra patient with it. But it's also 10:15, like we got another 15 minutes for first hour or so. Like it could very well hold here, and this obviously would be a great entry into that. The targets above would be 75.08, so there's like 70 points here to go on a 5-point stop loss. It's like 12-1 risk reward ratio. It's 2-1 just back to high a day. So like, don't get me wrong, it's a risk reward wise a great looking trade. We're still just seeing Russell pushing lows here at the moment. And again, I'm okay if I miss it. Like, if I'm too picky on the day, that's a good thing for me at this point. Like, I'm okay with that. Nice, good work, Oz. Good work. That's a nice move so far in NASDAQ. I'm looking for the big one. I want the big one in there. Starting to get a decent little push there now. In a perfect world, if this is going to hold, we'll see the Dow push up through that 52,163 here in the next like 12, 13 minutes. And we'll also get the Russell to make this move back over 3630s in that same time frame. So the Russell's got some work to put in here. And Dow's got a little bit of work to put in. We don't necessarily need that for S&Ps and NASDAQ to go higher on the day, right? Like we've been able to do it so far without that. But if we had that in addition, I think it would be nice. There is an argument to be made that we don't necessarily have to have it, just because if this kind of pair is unwinding, then it would almost be better that we didn't have it, right? Because there's a sell Dow, Russell, buy S&P, NASDAQ type of thing here. I'm not necessarily subscribed to that one at the moment. I just think it's a little bit more of a NASDAQ catch-up type of situation as opposed to that, but we'll see. And we could also hang out here for like the next 12 to 13 minutes in the S&Ps at 28s. I want the big one. Yeah, no, we do have a divergence for sure. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. S&P is coming down to 2675s there. So I am happy to still be chilling here. That little push to 2675s did break that 2750 low. That could be the shimmy. That could be legitimately all it needs. I kind of thought we might trade like 2425s. 2675s might be close enough. I guess we could potentially put a micro NASDAQ position on. Assume that this holds here. That pullback low is like 66s. That's not terrible. You could try a little NASDAQ long. You could use this 80s as a stop here, or you could give it all the way down here to 66s, whichever one you want to size it for. It's a little larger than I would prefer from a stop standpoint to 66s, 50, 60 points. But the idea being here that we hold this and then essentially push back up through and grab these highs. That little high right there is 140s. But this would be the 183s up here. Step now, rock, rock, rock. Do it all by yourself. Walk it out. Talking about. There's your low probably on this pullback for the S&Ps. 2675s there if you were looking for longs. Find me in the gray Cadillac, we in the bed like Meet me at the bar, tell me what you sipping. I love it. I love it. I love it. 6. Yeah. This AMD is honestly blowing my mind. 14% straight back in the face. I was literally just talking about that thing going to like $300. And the chart just turns on a dime the next day. I didn't put a position on, obviously, but I'm not going to short it in the hole like it was already, but I'm certainly not longing it at this point today either. I guess in theory I kind of am with NASDAQ, but I love it. Oh, that was 170. Oh, my alert never set up right. I was like, wait a minute. There we go. Disregard that last alert. The next one will be new highs for NASDAQ. We got about 7 minutes to go here. And I think we might see this this Dow try and push up to that 52,163s, and we might see that Russell kind of come back up over 36s. I love it. I love it. You can do it, NASDAQ. You can do it. Crazy thing is, we came from about 731s down here to currently where we're trading at in about an hour and a half on Monday. That was that big sell-off on Monday. Was we made essentially that 600-point move in essentially an hour and a half. So like to say that we couldn't do that again, just flipped and make that rally, I certainly think we can. There's probably a pretty decent looking 15-minute now in Microsoft. Yeah, not bad. That thing holding the daily 200 looks really nice. Especially from a swing perspective. You can make a good argument for the NASDAQ 15-minute chart too. It looks pretty. It'll be about 100 points here in a second. We push those highs. We got about 4 minutes on it. And the Dow actually kind of pulled back a little off the open there. I kind of thought that was going to get a little bit more continuation with it, but anybody grab this little NASDAQ entry from down here? I'll kind of talk a little bit more detail about this one here in a bit. Let's see if we can't get this to get settled in up over the high and start reaching for new highs. We got about 3 minutes and change on this Russell here. I think that actually looks pretty good. I think it's waiting till 10:32. Is what I think the S&P's is doing. I mean, again, I said this. Nasdaq's up 3% on the day. S&P is up 1.1. Don't get me wrong; it has a great risk reward ratio still. You got 28 100s on Nasdaq. That's a that's a fire entry. Stunting like my daddy, I was stunting like my daddy, young stunner. Stunting like my daddy, I was stunting like my daddy. There you go. Is that Russell getting back up through 3630s? S&P's new highs. Every day. Back in there was dagging. What's your target, Shadow? Where should I add? When you get out, let me take yours. I'm taking one up there, 700s for you. Come on, Shadow. I need you to hodl. Pretend that NASDAQ is Bitcoin and that you're never getting rid of it. And you're just going to hold it to eternity. I actually think the Russell now, depending on how this can close out, we got another like 30 seconds to go. I wouldn't mind seeing us go ahead and tag that open real quick in there at 40.10s, but as long as we can manage to hold this, I actually think this will present a new opportunity for fresh longs in the Russell. You trimmed it high day. Yeah, S&P's made new highs. I don't blame you for that. That was a good 2-to-1 risk reward ratio on that. And like I said, there's plenty more to go there. Did we legit? We did 3630s on the Russell. If market teases us here with this little new high pop and then NASDAQ fails, that would be unfortunate. I don't think that's the case, but What it feel like? Tell me what you sipping on. I promise that I'm gonna keep it coming all night long. So I got a thing for you. Purpose, wine and working. Let me go like love in this club. Love in this club. I grabbed a couple micros on this pullback from over here that I gave the NASDAQ entry on. I've got about 140 points in it here. At the same time I gave that S&P entry. There's a nice little entry in the Russell there. 3350s back over the 36s. It's about a 3-point stop. I don't know if it holds or not, but it's a cute little entry. You go want some more of me. I'm a little disappointed nobody mentioned, like, we got the collar on today, little dress shirt on top, no drawers on bottom type of day. Ain't nobody said nothing. Make love in this club. Thirsty Thursday. Mike was hiding it. Got to pop my collar. It kind of blends in with the beard, honestly. And for about drawers, you should keep to yourself. I got a special camera mounted right under the desk just for you, Larry. We called. Never mind. Never mind. Almost got me. Call that the rooster cam. Just a different word. No wonder I got in trouble in school. It blends in with the background. It does. It does. I'm actually going to be reworking the other part of my office over there. I'm kind of excited for. Target on NASDAQ is 28,731. 500 points from here. Microsoft actually about to break new highs here too. That's a bold target. I know. Here's another thing I know. What I do know is that if we do go to 28,731s today, that I will not be putting on a collared shirt tomorrow, nor will I be turning on this camera tomorrow. So there's that. We can make that move today. We call it. No, 130 points definitely. That's a nice move. I mean, we're up 880 points here on the day, so it's not like NASDAQ can't necessarily make that move. Probably a smart move to close or at least lock in something from a futures perspective here for sure. What up, Derivator? That little Russell entry that I mentioned that was cute is actually starting to work pretty decent there now. $33.50s. Yeah, not bad. S&P has never rechecked this 28.50s yet here. I don't think it necessarily needs to, but it just hasn't done it. Technically off that close, we got 33s. I think we'll be fine. That high day is 46.50s in there. We're 4 points off that. It looks fine. We are starting to get the Russell to move, so it's interesting. We've got S&Ps, NASDAQ, and maybe now the Russell moving with us. The Dow still just kind of hanging like right under opening print there. 52,100 area. We had 3 out of the 4 markets. I don't know. I look at this 2-minute chart and maybe I'm biased. Maybe, just maybe I'm like not seeing something here. But I don't know. I'm just looking at this and it's like, do you really want to short this NASDAQ chart at the moment? Like, I don't know. Like, if we look at this, like, let's say we flip it. Do you want to buy that? Like, if we flip that chart upside down, Is that a chart you really want to buy, or is that a chart that you're like, yeah, we're probably going lower? Maybe I just marked the high of the day, but I don't know. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. It might. It certainly could. Watch, I just marked the high of the day. I just had to flip the chart around. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just had such a large move. That was a new low tick rating of the day, minus 413s there. There's a 2850, a test there on the S&Ps again. The Russell did just come down and trade right under that little level there. That last little pivot. I kind of want to add something additional in here, but it's also the weaker market, so I really don't want to at the same time. I've debated it like 3 or 4 times now today. Yeah, I mean, we're getting this test of 2850s now. Microsoft just made new highs there. NASDAQ would need a hold with this 2850 S&P test. I don't know. Like I said, it's not something I'm interested in shorting here. I'm just going to continue to manage longs. And it is what it is from there. I mean, that's essentially the only thing we can do. If we fail on these highs, that's going to be kind of unfortunate, but I don't know if there's anything else we can do differently. Maybe we're breaking it down. S&P is getting that little push down there now, cracking under 2850s. I still don't fully buy the short side of things just yet, but certainly have to respect it. That will be a little unfortunate. Caution blackjack, where you stay. Back over 2850s here on the S&Ps, and I'll look for an S&P entry. Lights, camera, action, when I walk through the door. It would be kind of unfortunate to see us fail here. There's a lot of potential there to the upside, especially for NASDAQ, but if it does want to do it, there's nothing we can do about it. Butterfly doors. NASDAQ almost back to the entry here. Just a little shallow 100 and something pullback here. $133 points worth of pullback there. Meanwhile, Microsoft, Amazon, AMD's A little pullback off highs. Everything's still kind of holding up there. I know. I know. I said that earlier too. I was like, that's going to be the only thing. Load the short, send it all to zero. It might be. I'm going to close the last little bit of these NASDAQ here. In just a second. I'll let those come back. Again, the targets were still another 600 points away. I feel like we probably got to cut these, but we're right here. Maybe gonna see what we do off this little low from back here. I literally did mark the top when I flipped the chart over. That's kind of funny, honestly. Yeah, right. We post the Elmo gift and mark the bottom. Well, why don't you post that now? That's good timing for it right about now. That's unfortunate. I closed out the little bit of NASDAQ futures I had there as well from this little pullback over here. I don't really have a short entry though, is the only thing. Like, we're about to make we're already made new lows there in the Russell. We're about to make them here in the Dow. 877s. Yeah, almost. I just don't really have a way, like I said, to play this to the downside unless we get a rally back. I mean, we'd have to rally back all the way to like 107s, basically. We just gave up the 2850s and the S&Ps. I mean, we came back, we pulled back, tested it, Looked like we were gonna hold, gave it up, and then just relentless. Yeah, the lotto calls I'm not gonna touch. There's nothing I can do with those. We got to rally to 107s maybe. Total range on the day 433 points for the NASDAQ. And we're off highs here now. 250, about 200 points. So we pull back, give or take half the range so far. We did get new lows there in the Russell. No new lows in the Dow. S&Ps are trying to hold open now. I don't love the S&P chart. It doesn't look near as good as the NASDAQ. Microsoft giving it up a little bit too now. Really appreciate S&P open print pair. Are you short Russell? Or do you short S&Ps? This very easily could turn into nothing more than just kind of a larger shimmy on like a 15-minute chart and an hourly 1, 2, 3 type of look there for the NASDAQ. Or if we rally up here to like 107s and then fail and go lower, then obviously we got room to the downside. Oh, nice, right off 4070s. That was that high, right? Yeah, 4070s, opening print 4010s. Nice. If you not take a look around, bend your ass. 29, 33, 20s. Okay. I don't mind that. S&P's continuing to push lower there. Russell kind of stalled there for a second. Pretty boy. $874s there for the Dow. The low was 877. So we did just make new lows there in the Dow. These S&P lows are 73.99, 75s. We haven't quite done that just yet. Don't count the NASDAQ out just yet. Pretty nice little 70.2-minute reversal bar there. The low is 12, like 60, 70 points down. This is the thing we would want to see out of the NASDAQ. If it's just going to do a little shimmy under this little low from over in here at 66s and get back up through and keep its movement going. Again, we still got to kind of retest this 107s, but which we're essentially at right now, 109s. I think it looks a little different than it did when that initially was set, though. Why are you trying to fade me? Why are you trying to fade me? If we can push back up here towards 246s, that's going to give us a pretty decent little bottoming tail there on this hourly. 226s, yeah. Weeklies for tomorrow. Hold on, I gotta go pee. Be right back. Dow is making new lows there. Dump it. Are you short now? I still want NASDAQ higher. The chat does want blood, but I don't know about that. What about me? What about me? I don't know that I'm necessarily so confident in the fact that it can get there. As just the idea that getting a massive move after an FOMC event like that and completely reversing that move from yesterday and like setting up that weekly chart to do what I think it has the potential to do is like what's interesting. Again, it might not happen technically till tomorrow. And like, yeah, we could always come down and recheck those 27,777s. But at the moment, it was holding well this morning off of opening print. And obviously, we've got the trend and everything kind of working that way at the moment. So it made sense from a QQQ like call perspective. I mean, that was 100-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Like, paid 5 cents for them, they potentially go to $5. Like, I can't. Yeah, obviously the odds of that, the percentages that I'm going to hit those are lower, but like I can't not take that. You know what I mean? Like I got to give it that opportunity. Like again on the downside, like the cons of this trade, right, is that one, we don't have S&Ps holding 2850s anymore. We don't have the Russell holding 3630s. We never got above the 52 163s for the Dow. Like there's a lot of negatives working against the trade, right? And it looked really good. I mean, we were up like 8, 9, 10x initially here. We went to like, 45, 50 cents on those contracts. When we were up there at 28, 246s. So I would have loved for us to pull back and test the level for sure. Like that would have been glorious. Unfortunately, we just didn't do it. We did trade back up in towards those like 107s there. 137s at the high. I don't know. We are looking like we ran out a little bit of steam. Which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. Yeah, no, I think the chart would look a lot different too if we had traded those first. I mean, Nasdaq's technically still up 700 points on the day, so it's not like it's not like Nasdaq's having a bad day. We have 1,000+ point range, including overnight session. That 6 o'clock low was right down there, 202s. We got 1,040 point range. Russell new lows, Dow new lows, S&Ps might here in a minute. No, I know, that's the thing. Like these little 2-minute bars in Nasdaq right here are 100 points. I say little, like they're not technically little. They just look little on the chart. I wouldn't blame you for that. I wouldn't blame you for that at all. 45% in 3 days. Plus you're getting another payout today? Yeah. We probably shouldn't see you around tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a very back and forth month. No, I got you. I got you. We'll set it up. Dow coming back a little bit there. Russell coming back a little bit. This is looking a little trappy slash not fun. Obviously still holding the Q calls. But I don't see anything else to do. That's the downfall. Maybe the Dow wants to play ball now and get a little bit of a rally. I don't know that I can trust that. Did S&Ps make new lows? 99.75s. Oh, we did. We made new lows in the S&Ps there too. We made new lows everywhere except for the NASDAQ. I don't guess we made. Yeah, we didn't make a divergence there technically in S&Ps, at least no signal. But decent little bounce back up. We got about 9 minutes to go here. That's going to be interesting. Can we get back up over the level here, like 28.50s and 36.30s for the Russell in the next 9 minutes? It might be something to do if we do that. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bunch of nonsense, and we'll probably have to just walk away and let it be. Ticks are minus 671s to plus 450 range on the day. We're currently sitting at plus 253s here. So market's at least trying to get a little bit of a bounce from here. The only thing that I like about current charts at the moment is that NASDAQ, two things. I don't like that NASDAQ didn't get 777s, but I also like that NASDAQ didn't make that new low. When everything else did there. Doesn't mean it won't, but at least it didn't yet. NVIDIA crashed. Like $1.50. Nothing crazy yet. S&P's rejecting that 1450 opening print. I suppose if you are looking for shorts, you could look at this current 5-minute bar and bracket it. It's about 70 points and just go, yeah, beneath here we look for shorts. Above 99.50s, we would obviously look to be out of that. If you're looking for an idea for shorts, that would be this would essentially be that entry probably. The idea being that we go down and get those 777s. You have to let this bar finish out. I don't know that that's the greatest of entries or not. Probably a bit of a reach. Do I think we'll ever get the volume in the single stock? I think so. I think so. It's just going to be a new product that needs to be kind of figured out overall. I mean, if we take a look here today, $47 contracts for Apple, 32 contracts for Netflix, nothing crazy. Yeah, we got a ways to go. We got a ways to go, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, ideally, yeah, we get the volume to come into those. I think they'll be fun. If we can get the volume, that would be obviously nice. Kind of like the way this little Dow is shaping up down here, maybe. I just don't know that I can long this. 147s or 847, sorry. Yeah, I don't think I can do anything with that, but it's kind of acting like it wants to find a bit of a bottom here. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is not looking so great. We got about a minute here till this close. Long GC every day. Yeah. We rejected that 4166s today. Obviously decent target for it, but I don't know. We're sitting like right in the middle, kind of. We got 200-ish, 240-ish points down to go get those 777s. We got about 230 points back up to high a day. I don't know. I don't love it here. I have my risk on. I'm just kind of letting that do its thing. A really great start and then just a lackluster performance out of the NASDAQ since then, which is unfortunate. It had all of the opportunity, I think, in the world to go do what I thought it would do. Silver actually looks a little better than gold today. Let me see, don't see that. It's super tough hourly bars to play back into for the Russell and the Dow, but they're kind of acting like they want to hold here for a minute. I'm probably wrong on that, and we continue to go lower in there. But at least at the moment, they're trying to establish a little bit of maybe a pivot here. NASDAQ here is basically stuck right over top this $28,000 number, and it's just not going anywhere at the moment. So it might be just it. This little push back up here into like 55s or so. Could be it for NASDAQ if we roll over. If we can push back up through these 55s and get something going to the upside, then maybe we rally back to highs and pull everything with it. But at this point, I really can't really say that I love either direction. There's good pros and cons to both. New high tick reading on the day, though. There's a positive. New high ticks. S&P is right at opening print there. 74.1450s. Dow actually did get a bit of a pop there. 100.92.5 minute bar there. I kind of feel like there's a news bar on the way. I'm trading like we're waiting for it. But otherwise, it's just kind of. It is interesting. We're getting Russell and Dow to get some strength off these lows here. S&P is giving up that open now. Microsoft actually probably doesn't look bad for a little afternoon rally. That's a pretty looking little kind of hourly 1, 2, 3 in Microsoft there. How much are these? Let me see something here. Microsoft actually doesn't look too bad for continuation tomorrow. But yeah, everything else here, honestly not great. The Dow is getting some love here. The Dow is, I mean, we've got about 100+ point pop since I mentioned down there that we were trying to maybe flip that over here. Dow getting a move. Russell maybe going to try back for 3630s here. High day there, 4650s and S&Ps. The ticks are pushing back towards highs here now. We might have a rally on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I should trust that Dow or not, but it's at least giving the little hints that it does want to try and do something there. NASDAQ is getting a push. We got to kind of get back up through this 137s over here. These little highs from back over in here this morning around 11 or so. You can make an argument if S&Ps get back over 2850s, and maybe we can do something there. It's kind of what I'm watching. There's decent like 18 points between 2850s and those 4650s, but the real target's 7508 in there if it really wants to get moving, which is technically what would turn that weekly bar back around as well. Microsoft looking good too. I like that kind of end of tomorrow. I just don't know if I want to put something on to hold overnight. NASDAQ traded 133s there. Not quite able to push up through those 137s just yet. We might be able to do something here with the S&Ps though, up over 2850s, and we might honestly, it's going to sound a little crazy, we might see this Dow get up through 52.163s and that little like 890 area down there where we were watching it from. It's like 150 points now. You see it, I know you see it. Anybody have any questions? Uh-oh. Nasdaq come back down. Any words of wisdom? Oh, let me see. I didn't see the rest of your comment. Bro, I have the best theory and my optimism very hard to lose unless someone going against it. Sometimes I do go against it. How would I stop? Try again. I'm opinion, bro. I have the best theory in my opinion. Very hard to lose. I don't quite understand the question. What you're asking there. Hit it to me a different way. Let me see if I can come up with something for you. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's easy. Just don't do that. No, yeah. So what he's trying to say is, I go against the trend, even though I know the trend is upside. I have a problem of going against the trend all the time. So, do you have a problem going against the trend, like predominantly trying to short, or do you have a problem trying to buy the dip, trying to go long a lot of times? Because me personally, the vast majority of my trades, if you've watched for any length of time, you'll know I long more times than I short. Like, it's it is what it is for me. Like I prefer that. I know when to not, you know, fuck around, find out type thing on buying dips. Like I've learned that lesson many times in the past. So I can avoid those situations. Like I can see the shorts and be like, yeah, okay, we can probably go short here, but like I know when to just kind of hold off on that and let the market do its thing, so to speak. Um, so if you're having an issue with both, it's a little different because like you're not, I guess, in that sense, you're a little bit more aggressive either way. Is it like you feel like you missed the move type of thing, or like do you have an example from today? Is there a specific like trigger thing that causes it? That's really what the root that I'm trying to get to. Because they could be totally different. So no, you just you just do the opposite. Just a normal tendency to go against it, even though I know I am wrong. Okay. What's the trade plan look like? There's got, and I don't say this in, I don't say this in like a mean way. I'm just saying, one, simple, just like stop doing that. But two, there's got to be a reason. There's something in there that is pushing that narrative, so to speak. Like there's a trigger in there somewhere. Yesterday, my theory was short. I kept going long. Okay, so was it a valid, and it could just be this, like, were there valid long entries according to like your trade plan, like according to your rules, your plans, etc., your trade setups? Like if there was valid longs, then okay, it's fine. Like as long as it meets the criteria, right? I think the other piece of that could be that um, it's just taking trades that are not in your plan or not having those trades defined, and you're just kind of winging it at that point, right? And you feel like you're going against the trend, obviously, because you kind of probably are at that point, but it's just not having a plan. Would be more so my thought process on that. Yeah, okay. If you don't have a plan, then yeah, there you go. There's the root. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you continue to go the opposite of trend, even though you quote unquote think you know what the direction is or the trend, right? It's just not having a plan. Like that's legitimately as simple as it is. So you're just taking unplanned trades, impulse trades, as opposed to pre-planned trades or like a divergence trade, for example, like something that can present itself on the day that is a valid trade setup. That's the difference. Oh, well, yesterday was FOMC. That's a little different. I'm trying to say that the big short around like 315. That was an FOMC move. But yeah, if you tried longing inside of that move, then probably, I laugh, but that probably hurt. We got like an 800 point drop in an hour. That probably wouldn't be too fun to try and be long that. Um, but yeah, my answer to that would be that you just need to know what your actual plan is. Like, what is your, and I say this in a nice way, but like I've said it a bunch of different times. Like the charts are just like a female, right? It's like whatever your setup is, like if you're interested in blondes, you're interested in brunettes, maybe you got a thing for redheads, whatever the case is, right? Is like you want to know what that trade looks like, smells like, tastes like, all the things, right? It's like everything that you're looking for and wanting, you should already know what that is, right? Like if you're going on a date, it's obviously like, okay, I'm going on a date with a blonde because I like blondes, right? Whatever. If I'm going to take a divergence trade, okay, well, I like divergence trades, right? Maybe you're a girl and this is a bad example, and maybe you like tall, dark, and handsome, but either way, the point still remains the same. Is like you need to know what that trade setup is, like inside and out, how it's going to look, how it's going to act, all the things. And for me, that's why I'm watching like all four indices specifically, right? Like if I just focused on the Nasdaq today, well, I would be waiting for that pullback to 27,777s, right? Like we never got it. But at the same time, like I'm also able to see some of the other little bits of detail, and it kind of didn't help me today in some ways, right? But maybe we'll yet to see. But like Russell gapping above the level, S&P Dow gapping below the level, right? And Nasdaq obviously gapping above. So it's like I can kind of see that, like, okay, these two are doing something similar to each other, but then these two over here are not. Like they're doing their own thing, but it's separate than these two, right? So like I can extract some information from that. So you gotta get real detailed on what that plan is. And one, knowing what you're looking for, right? Having that plan is key. But if, at the same time, if you don't know how to make that plan because you don't know what those trade setups actually are, then that makes it even more difficult, right? It's like, okay, well, what do I actually do? You know what I mean? Like, if you're just blindly looking at a chart and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy it. This is my plan. I'm going to buy after, you know, a red bar, blah, 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 right? You're probably going to end up back in the same situation, even though you planned. Because if the plan isn't good because the trade setup that you're looking for isn't good, then you're still going to be in the same boat, right? So it's kind of a twofold piece on that, but hopefully that makes sense. This Microsoft is going to rip. I wish those options were like 10 or 20 cents. Pick up a bunch of those for tomorrow at the idea that it maybe goes to 478s. Yeah, or there's that. Take the mentorship. Can't bank with us. Trade up, we know angel dust. I don't want to do anything with the S&Ps, but I do like the way that everything's developing here for potential longs. I'm just going to sit with the Nasdaq. I still think there's potential there. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like the vast majority of people lose more than $2,000 when they start, which is what the mentorship cost. And it's like you could save yourself a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy. Like time is the only thing that we spend, and we have no idea how much of it we have. Like we have absolutely no idea. That's a whole different conversation, but wasted time is something in which you will never get back. And don't get me wrong, I have done my fair share of doom scrolling, and I still will from time to time, and waste time. But I choose to do that. It's totally different than but yeah. Let's go, NASDAQ. You can do this, baby. Microsoft just made new highs there. We got about 100 points here until new highs for the NASDAQ. Kind of looking at this, I'm like, we can do a little something like this, and then if we move this over here, kind of puts us up towards like 28,450s, give or take. It's like 300 points from here. Wondering if the Dow there. It's getting a little recheck, of opening print there. There's a tight little stop there. Literally 82s there. Opening prints like 101. The highs up there, 130s. Those highs are 133. I guess we technically didn't make new highs there just yet. Microsoft is ripping. Oh, these options are going to run away on me. We might go ahead and take a break here soon. I gotta get a couple things done outside of the stream. We just let this market do what it wants to do. The only thing I still have on is the Q calls here. I was looking for an entry there on a pullback to potentially 2850s for the S&Ps. We just pushed right up through there to like 3650s. And I thought this might pull back there. We traded 32, so a little front run of that. I was kind of open to that idea there. NASDAQ here looking good though. Like I said, I set some alerts up here for over those 246s. I'm not going to do anything with it, obviously, until we can get that move. Those options are still like 10 cents at the moment, so we're at 682s basically here. Let it go. Let it rip. There's that 163s trading now for the Dow. We could see it still. We could see it. Oh, so I did check out that soul and seafood spot yesterday, and it's pretty fire. That was pretty good. We had to go run a couple errands and do a few things, like midday, and I wanted to get back for the FOMC, even though I didn't end up doing anything. Um, so we just stopped in there on the way back. It's good. I did a video on it. I recorded it, which was kind of weird. I don't think I've ever really recorded myself eating, but I tried a bunch of different things. So nice top of the line. Keep facing the waist with a big behind. This Microsoft move is moving. Waist with a big behind. You gotta be a bat. All right. The Dow is actually making a really nice move off those lows down there. And we talked about that potentially finding a bit of a bottom there and looking like it wanted to flip on that 15. And it'd be a tough hourly bar to try and flip that thing all the way around. But come to find out, it did just that. And now pushing up through these 52 163s here. So this thing went from 890s right down in here to current prices about 300 points. That's a big move. A 330 point reversal bar there on that hourly chart, which is in fact essentially the total range for the day. 387 points in there, and the Dow's making a nice move. We need the NASDAQ to have this strength, not the Dow. But I guess if we get all four markets moving together here, we might be able to see that. So anyways, 1219, I'm going to go ahead and tune off here for a bit. And check on a couple things. I need my ear to pop, is what I need at the moment. All right, I'm gonna roll. There's a little pullback here to the Dow, and Russell's starting to get a little bit of movement here now as well, but I don't really want to mess with it. We've been super patient and sitting with this NASDAQ trade here, so I'm just gonna continue to let that be what it is. We traded 45.50s there, a little 1 point front run for the S&Ps to get those new highs. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's all we can do here. The Russell actually doesn't look bad. There's potentially a lot of room there for that to move, but like I said, I'm gonna let it be. We got the NASDAQ on, and we'll just let her eat if she wants to. I set some alerts there, obviously, so if we break over 28,246s, I'll know about it, but otherwise, I don't really think there's going to be much here. Let's see something. All right. All right, I'm gonna run. I'll check back in a little bit here. If you want to do anything, it's potentially the Russell or the Dow here off this 39 or 3630s here, and the 52 163s for the Dow. I still think S&Ps and Nasdaq obviously have the strength at the moment, and I think Nasdaq probably tries to push and go get those highs again, at least one more time here on the day, and maybe more. So that would be the thing in which I would like to see, and obviously even continuation of the upside there. So we got a couple more hours here left. We could make that move, but it's looking less and less likely. And these contracts are still technically they're 6 cents at the moment, so we could cut them for break even, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let them work, and I'd be real upset I cut them for break even, then they go all the way to targets. That would upset me more than just taking the loss in general and then not making the move. We're sized for it, so it's totally fine. It is what it is. And yeah, I think that's all I got here. So kind of a slow day. Market got a big move initially there, but then this last little bit has been kind of a bore. So but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and jump up from the desk. I got some other things I need to get done, and then I'll check back in here in a bit and kind of see where we're at, what's moving, and go from there. So appreciate you guys as always, and unless NASDAQ goes and gets that move, I'll be here tomorrow. If it does, then I won't be, and we'll kind of go from there. So appreciate you guys, and I will see you later. Peace.